The Death Star has moved out of deep space and will soon be in firing range of the fourth moon of Yavin, the home of the Rebel base. Armed with the knowledge of the Death Star's weakness deciphered from the stolen plans, a brave handful of Rebel X-Wing and Y-Wing pilots are making a last-ditch attack run. Their first task is to disable the power nodes on the surface of the Death Star, after which they will need to face down a barrage of TIE fighters before being able to enter the trench for the final run to the exhaust port. Will the Rebels successfully navigate themselves through the Imperial defenses, or will the Empire for once and all stamp out the Rebel nuisance? Find out as we play our final Episode 4 scenario of Star Wars Miniatures. Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming. We have finally made it to the final game of our Episode 4 scenario, where the Rebels are going to be making their last-ditch effort to destroy the Death Star. Now this is going to be a fairly complicated scenario, so let me go ahead and explain the different parts and the rules that I will be using. There will be three parts to this scenario that I will explain in more depth when we come to them, but we can summarize them like this. The first part is the Rebels coming to the Death Star, and they will be attacking the power nodes. Meanwhile, they will be attacked upon by the surface turbo blasters. Second, once the power nodes are destroyed, the second battle will be involving TIE fighters and a TIE fighter attack. We will have 7 TIE fighters coming and trying to shoot down our Rebels. Third and finally, once we have made our way through the battlefield, we will be entering the trench and making our trench run. Here, Vader and 2 additional TIE fighters will join the battle. Here are some special rules that we will be using as we play. For the basic mechanics of the game, I will be using my own homebrewed Star Wars Miniatures rules for Star Wars space battles. Now, I have made a previous video where I have walked through these rules. If you're interested in getting the full run-through of the rules, you can go ahead and watch that video. Otherwise, you should be able to pick up the rules as we play the scenario. Regarding statistics, I will be using the cards from Star Wars Space Battles. I've made a few modifications on how they work, however. If you look here on the X-Wing Starfighter, it is a Class 4 ship, which means that it has a certain speed or distance of inches. What we're doing here is the class times 6, so this would be a 24-inch movement, 12 inches if we're going to be shooting. And we have here 16 for the hull defense, which means you have to hit a 16 or above in order to wound the ship. It only has 1 wound, and we have some benefits here you see on the side for shooting. When in the case of the X-Wing Starfighter, we'll have a +3 to hit. So these are the cards I will be using. The statistics I will be using slightly modified in my own homebrew system, but this is what I'll be referencing when we are playing out the battles. The next mechanic is the time clock, and this represents the amount of time before the Death Star is able to fire on the fourth moon of Yavin and to destroy the Rebel base. If the time clock ever gets down to 1, then the Rebel base will be destroyed and we will lose the game. Now, the way that this will work is that at the end of each round, we will move 1 number down. So we will move from a 6 to a 5 after the first round. However, this decrease in time is able to be negated if at any point during the round we were able to take out 1 or more power nodes or 1 or more TIE fighters. In this case, we would remain with the number that we are on. If we're not able to take any of these things out, then unfortunately, the time will keep ticking down. Another interesting mechanic is going to be the bonus counter for our final shot in the trench run. We are going to need a total of 20 to be able to hit the exhaust port. Now you might be thinking that this is incredibly improbable, it's only a 5% chance, how is this going to be possible? Well, this is where this counter comes in. For each power node that is destroyed or each TIE fighter that is destroyed, we will add a +1 to this counter. And in the end, when we are taking off our shots onto the exhaust port, we will then add this bonus to our roll to try to make a total of 20 or more. So for example, if we have 10 points going into our final trench run shot, we will need to roll a 10 or higher in order to be able to hit the exhaust port. The final special rule is what I'm calling the Millennium Falcon Ex Machina. Now, Luke Skywalker will always be the final X-Wing in the game, meaning that all the other ships will be taken out first. Now, if it comes to this, that Luke is the last ship in the game, and if he is hit and is going to take a wound, what we will say then in this situation is that the Millennium Falcon swoops into the scene and negates that hit. What this means then is that Luke will be able to continue on for at least one more round. The Millennium Falcon, however, will have no further role to play in the game. So there we have it, a few special rules that we will be using in this scenario. Don't worry if you don't remember the rules. I will try to remind you as we play the game. Well, let's go ahead now and take a look at the setup for our first step, the first part of this scenario. Stage 1 of the attack, the rebels will be coming to the surface of the Death Star. We have 3 Y-Wings over in this corner that will be flying in. In the center, we have our 3 X-Wings with Luke in the middle. Luke is going to have the white X-Wing, so we remember which one is Luke. And over here, we have the 3 X-Wings, the gray ones. This is going to be the red squad that is going to be leading the attack. Now, what they're going to be doing is they're trying to take out these 4 power nodes. You see the power nodes here have these marbles onto these little blue bases. Now, the power nodes require a 10+ to hit, so they are a little bit easier to hit than the turbo blaster turrets. These are a hit on a 15+, and if they're hit, of course, they are destroyed. So we have to be smart about where we want to use our shots and our activations. If we want to use them to attack the power nodes or to try to hold off the fire from the turrets. Remember, we only get points from the power nodes, however, not from destroying turrets. Once we have finished destroying the power nodes, all we have to do is get our ships off of the battlefield, and then we move on to the next step. Each of these turrets will have a 12-inch range, and they are able to fire in 360 degrees. We will be doing 2 activations for each turn until all the items are activated on the board, and that will be the end of that round. All right, let's go ahead and roll off for activation. The Rebels will be using the red D20, and the Empire will be using the blue. Here we go, and it's going to be 4-3. The Empire begins. First activation, let's turn this turret here and take off a shot on one of these Y-Wings, and we are within the 12-inch range. Destroying it on a 14+, and it's an 18! Look at that, the first roll! Wow! So the Empire is coming on strong. Our first Y-Wing is destroyed. And we will go ahead and place a marker there by that turret to show that it has been activated this round. Next up, let's see if we are within range, and we are indeed within range. So we're going to turn this turret right here and take a shot off onto this X-Wing. And we're going to be hitting on a 16+, and it's an 8. Okay, no, that misses. All right, let's try to use some strategy here. That gun has already been activated, so we're going to fly over here 12 inches. We are within 12 inches of firing range on that power node, and we're going to try to shoot from here and see if we can take that out. We need a 10+. X-Wings have a +3 for laser cannon, so we need to roll a 7 or above, and it's an 11. Perfect. We will take this off, showing that the power node has been destroyed. And we will mark that ship as activated. Next activation, let's fly this X-Wing here up a little bit. We don't need to go 12 inches. We'll go up to right about here and take a shot off on the power node up on the top left. Also needing a 7+ to hit. And it's a natural 20. Perfect. Back to the Empire. Empire activation. We're going to turn this turret right here and fire off onto this X-Wing. We are going to be hitting on a 16+, and it's a 14, so no, that is a miss. Next up, let's have that turret way up on the top, turn and fire on that ship that had fired on it on the other power node. And here we go, 16+, and it's an 8. No, that's a miss. Back to the Rebels now. Let's have Luke take his ship. We're going to fly him up 12 inches. Now, does that make us within range of that power node? Yes. So Luke will go ahead now and take an attack on that power node there. And we're needing a 7+ to take it out. Yes, a 14 is a successful hit. So that power node is also destroyed. Second activation, we have this guy right here. We're going to send him way up there to that power node. We're not going to be able to fire on it, so let's go ahead and fly our 24 inches without firing. So that is how things are going to look there. Let's go ahead and activate that blue turret and take a shot off on that same X-Wing. Hitting on a 16 plus. Here we go. And it's a 19. It's a 19, so he connects and destroys that X-Wing who's making a run for the final power node. Unbelievable. So let's take that ship off, meaning that we're going to have some more of these X-Wings and Y-Wings try to make their way all the way up in that corner. Second activation, let's go ahead and activate this turret and see if we can fire off on this ship, on Luke Skywalker. Are we within range? Let's put our measuring device down and see. I would say we are just in range, so we can go ahead and take a shot off on Luke's ship. Now remember, if we kill Luke, then we will have to change him out for a different ship because Luke will always be the last one in the fight. But let's go ahead and roll off here. We're hitting on a 16 plus. Ooh, and it's a 9. That'll be a miss. All the remaining activations go to the Rebels. We have 2 X-Wings over on this side. Over on this side, we have 2 Y-Wings. I think what I want to do is to move all of them 24 inches up in the direction of this power node. I want to destroy that power node and get out of here. We have already lost 2 ships. We're taking some heavy damages, and we need to preserve our ships for the next stage in this battle. So let's go ahead and move those up 24 inches. All right, that brings us to the end of round 1. Now we will flip down to a 5, but we were able to take out some power nodes in this round, so we will keep us on a level of 6. So far, so good. We are not at risk of being destroyed by the Death Star, but let's go ahead and take a look at the situation. Now we have lost an X-Wing and a Y-Wing, so we are taking some heavy casualties already here in the fighting, which is going to be tough when we go to our TIE fighters. Let's go ahead and remove all of the markers and roll off for initiative for round 2. Round 2 initiative, Red Rebels, Blue Empire, and it is going to be 18-16. The Empire will begin again. All right, let's start here with this turret. We're going to fire off onto that Y-Wing. Hitting now on a 14 plus. And it's an 8. That'll be a miss. Same thing on the other side. Let's turn that turret and take a shot off at the Y-Wing closest to it. 14 plus to destroy. And it's a 12. No, that's another miss. In Star Wars Miniatures, it's possible to fire and then move. So let's take a shot with this guy onto that power node. And then if he hits, we're going to get out of there. 7 plus. And it's a 10. Yes. This is Red Leader. The last power node is taken out. Let's get out of here, man. Over. So let's finish up our activation there and get the lead X-Wing out of there, and the guy behind him will also take off the battlefield. The Empire, however, is not done yet, so let's have this turret go ahead and turn and take a shot off onto this lead Y-Wing. 14 plus to hit. And it's a 19! Unbelievable! Oh, man! Let's keep going here on those Y-Wings. Let's activate this turret. We'll spin it around and take one shot off onto that Y-Wing up there. Once again, 14 plus. 19 again! Oh, my gosh! Oh, jeez! Red Squad, get out of there now! Get out of there now, Red Squad! All right, for our next 2 activations, we are going to go ahead and take this X-Wing, fly him off of the battlefield like this, and Luke Skywalker's X-Wing will also send him 12 inches off the battlefield. Back to the Empire. There's 1 ship left. Here we go, activation for the Empire. This is the only turret within range. We are hitting on a 16 plus. And it's a 17! Oh my goodness, these turrets! I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. So another X-Wing falls. This is absolutely crazy. All right, so that brings us to the end of this round, but we were able to take out 1 power node, so we hold off the clock, leaving it at 6. But here is the empty battlefield. Things are not looking good for the rebels. We are down to a total of 5 X-Wings. We have lost 3 Y-Wings and another X-Wing from these turrets. They have been shooting incredibly. Well, let's go ahead now and clear everything off and get ready for our TIE fighter battle. We should also point out that our bonus counter is now at 4 because we took out 4 power nodes. This is going to be important, though. We're going to have to take out some TIE fighters if we want to get this number high enough that it's going to help us in our final trench run. So let's go ahead and set up for Phase 2 of this scenario. So here we are set up for Phase 2, a very simple battlefield. Now the point here is that the rebels need to make their way across this battlefield and exit over onto this side of the battlefield. However, they also need to pick up some points if they want to bring their bonus die up. We're thinking about the final trench run. Over here we have our deployment like this. We have our 5 X-Wings right here along this side with Luke in the center in the white X-Wing. And if we run over here back to the other side, we have a total of 7 TIE fighters. We've got a grouping of 4 down here, and up on top we have a grouping of 3. So let's go ahead now and roll off for initiative for Phase 2 of our scenario. We really need the rebels to get a break here. Let's go ahead. Rebels on the red die. 14-18. It will be the Empire again. And before we get started here, I just want to show you the TIE Fighter card. This is also a Class 4 ship, which means it can move 24 inches, only 12 inches if it is going to fire. We have a total of 14 damage on the hull on all sides, so 14 plus will hit. Laser cannon gives us a +2. Let's go and activate 2 guys, 1 from each of these groups. We are not going to be able to fire. They are too far away from us. We only have a range of 12 inches. So what we're going to do here is move each of these TIE fighters up 18 inches to the middle of the battlefield and try and clog things up. Over to the rebels now. Let's go ahead and fly this guy down in this direction and get a shot off on that TIE fighter. Let's go ahead and move him 12 inches. Using our laser cannons now, so we're going to be hitting on an 11 plus. Here we go. 16. Next up, let's activate the guy all the way up on the top and do the same thing. Here we are connecting and destroying on an 11 plus. And it's a 12. Yes. Back to the Empire. Let's go ahead and take 1 guy, and we're going to bring him 12 inches here and fire off over here. Okay, hull defense of 16. We've got a laser cannon, gives us a +2. So on a 14 plus, we are destroying that ship. Here we go. 3. Okay, he misses. Wow. Whew. Similar move up here. Let's go ahead and move this TIE Fighter 12, and we will see if we can go ahead and take a shot off and knock that guy out right there. Here we go, hitting on a 14, and it's a 16. Oh, no, 16. This guy is taken out. Oh, the rebels are getting brutalized. So this is such a hard call now because we need points. We're only at a level of 6 at this point. So we need points, bonus points, when we are going to fire at the exhaust port. But we only have 4 ships left. I mean, we're going to have a better chance of killing the TIE fighters than of them killing us. But man, the Empire's doing a great job. What do we do? Do we try to make a run for the edge of the battlefield, or do we try to gain some points? Oh, I think I'm going to activate this guy right here and fly him out and try to attack that TIE fighter. Okay, we really need this. Hitting on an 11 plus. Oh, and it's a 6. No, it's a miss. Luke over here is going to help out and try to do the same thing.
Luke, use the Force.
All right, come on, Luke. 11 plus. We got to do this. Come on, man. No, it's a natural 1. Oh, my goodness. Back to the Empire. TIE fighter all the way on the top is going to fly into the middle of the battlefield. And let's go ahead and take a shot from this guy over onto that X-Wing on the top. And here we go, 14 plus. We need a miss here. 15! Oh my goodness, this is crazy! Oh, I can't believe the Empire. I think at this point, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi, is saying more, "Run, Luke, run!" All right, let's go ahead and take this TIE fighter right here and run him into battle. Okay, taking a shot from here over onto this X-Wing. Once again, 14 plus. The Empire has been doing so great. Here we go. 19! Oh my goodness! Oh no! Back to the Rebels. Final activation of this X-Wing. Let's fly him over here. Try to get a shot off over here. Okay, shooting from here to here. We need the bonus points. Here we go. And it's a 14. Yes, finally. We got that guy. Final activation of this round for the Empire. We'll run over here and move this TIE fighter into the battle. We'll take a shot off onto this guy. And let's just make sure he is within range. Yes, no problem. All right, taking a shot off on that X-Wing, hitting on a 14 plus 15. Oh my goodness. So this is the end of that round. This is unbelievable to me. We go down to 5, but we negate that because we did kill a TIE fighter. So we are not in risk yet of the Death Star destroying the Rebel base, but we only have one X-Wing left. It is Luke all by himself. Now the question is, we need to win initiative, and I need to get Luke out of here because he needs to get at least one chance on the exhaust port in the trench. So let's go ahead and roll for initiative, and hopefully the Rebels get it. Otherwise, Luke might be in trouble. Okay, here we go. Maybe the most important roll of the game. Whew, Rebels have red and the Empire has blue. Come on, Luke, we need this. And it's an 11 to a 2. Yes, Luke got initiative. And there is absolutely no question at this point. We are going to get Luke out of there. 24 inches. He is off the battlefield. So here's how things stand now at the end of our second phase in this scenario. Luke and the Rebels, well, Luke is by himself at this point, have gathered 7 points. Not many points. They did not kill many TIE fighters. I'd hope they would have gotten a lot more, but man, they were rolling poorly. So 7, plus Luke gets a +3 for his proton torpedoes. So he has a bonus of 10 going into this final phase, which means that if he is able to get a shot off on the exhaust port, he will be hitting on a 10 plus. So he will add 10 points to his roll. Okay, here we have the third and final phase of this scenario. It is the trench run. Luke by himself now is going to be beginning here at this dotted line, and he's going to be flying his way up this trench. He must come to this line 6 inches from the exhaust port in order to be able to take a shot off. So he has to be able to make it up to that point. Luke will begin and have the first movement, and after that, then we will introduce Darth Vader and the TIE fighters. They will be able to follow Luke. If Luke is unable to connect with the exhaust port, he will have to go all the way back to the line and begin again. At this time, however, Darth Vader and the other TIE fighters will be right on his tail. So let's go ahead and set this up and play this last piece of this scenario. So here is Luke's starting point. We are going to go ahead now and activate him, move him 24 inches ahead. And there is Luke's final position within firing range of the exhaust port. But this is the end of his turn, which means now that Darth Vader and the other TIE fighters will enter the scene. The
The Force is strong with this one.
Empire activations. Let's go ahead and activate Darth Vader. Let's fly him 12 inches up, which means when he gets to this position, he will have a shot on Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader has a +3 to his attack, which means that he will be hitting Luke on a 13+. So let's go ahead and roll this off. This is a huge roll. And it's a natural 1! Oh my goodness, Vader! Woo! Natural 1. He misses entirely. Let's go ahead now and activate these last 2 TIE fighters. Let's move them up 12 inches right alongside Darth Vader and take a shot off on Luke, each of them. Okay, let's start with this guy on the left now. He has a +2, so he's going to be hitting on a 14. Let's roll this off. 15! Oh my goodness! And the shot will go through, but now is at the point where we can play our Millennium Falcon rule. Han Solo's going to come in with the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, kid, go ahead, take that shot. Let's blow this thing and get out of here. And that will negate that wound, which means now that Luke Skywalker is going to be shot by one last TIE fighter. Let's go ahead and roll this off. Hitting on a 14+. And it's a 10! No, he misses! Woo! Okay, Luke, we are still alive. And with that, the Millennium Falcon is going to cruise out of here. So here we are at the end of that round. The Death Star clock is going to tick down 1 because we haven't killed any TIE fighters at this point. Han Solo came in and saved Luke there at the end by negating that wound. Now we're going to roll off for initiative. Luke Skywalker is within firing range. If he wins initiative, he's going to get a shot off. Otherwise, the TIE fighters and Darth Vader are going to come back and attack him. Holy moly, this is intense. I cannot believe we're down here on the last roll here for the game. Let's go ahead and roll off initiative. Once again, red rebels. Blue goes to the Empire. Come on, Luke. Yes! Natural 20 to a 7. Luke gets the shot off, activating Luke Skywalker, and he is going to take a shot at the exhaust port.
Luke, use the Force, Luke.
Ben? Ben?
Luke, trust your feelings, Luke.
Luke, you've turned off your guidance computer. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. Let's take this shot, blow this thing, and get out of here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this looks like this is going to be it for us. We have accumulated a bonus of 10, which means on a roll of a 10 or higher, we will get our 20+ that we need to blow the Death Star. So here we go. Let's roll our final die and see what happens. Come on, Luke. Come on, Luke. Use the Force. Yes, it's a 12! Oh, yeah, 12! We hit the exhaust port. Luke fires his proton torpedoes. They go into the exhaust port, and with that, Luke Skywalker is going to fly out of the trench, joining the Millennium Falcon, flying away from the Death Star as it explodes into pieces. Well done, Luke. Wow, what a battle. Whew. Woohoo! Nice shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. Come on, let's get you home. Well, there you have it, folks. The exciting conclusion of our episode 4 final game. I could not have thought of a better and more poetic ending than this. Luke Skywalker by himself, saved by Han Solo, is able to take off the final shot and destroy the Death Star. Well, with this, we bring our episode 4 series to a conclusion, and I am already beginning to plan our episode 5 series, in which we will focus on the narrative of The Empire Strikes Back and follow along the movie story as we play those specific battles. If you like this kind of content and you want to follow along for that new series, then please do give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel, and we will continue to make more Star Wars miniatures videos in the future. And most importantly, Thank you for joining us here today at Gray Army Gaming for the future of gaming.